I'm dyeing my eyebrows. So if you see my eyebrows looking like this in certain videos, you know exactly what I'm doing. Um, uh-oh. Actually giving Luna her little daily walk before I get ready to start my day. Um, dang, need to go moisturize, but whatever. I worked out today. Um, got myself in alignment. Praying to God that He guides my day, things like that. And one thing that dropped in my spirit was how since I've been seeking God a little bit more than ever, I was slipping a little bit, but we all do. I noticed how I started losing more people that I was even around even more. Um, but I also, for every like two people I lost, I gained another person. So, and it just started reminding me of how God places people in our lives for different times, reasons, for different reasons and different, like, times and seasons or whatever. So, ooh, that felt like a huge zap. Um, so yeah, it made me just think about that a lot. Um, One thing I also noticed as I was getting better, as I was going into my more softer side, because a female, well, both, I'll tell you, females and males, they will go into polar um, signs or energies. And I don't want people to get all afraid, like she's talking about esoteric things. It's not that. Um, when they are stressed out, men, if they get too mentally bottled down, they will get more into their feminine side. They will stay in the masculinity for a minute, but they will get more into their feminine side when they're broken down. A woman, when they're broken down, they go opposite and they stay in the masculinity in a whole domineering way. And that's not always, a horrible thing. It's just how we're built and how we're wired to protect ourselves. Um, but the reverse is the same way. It happens the other way around when you feel happy or positive, or you feel, whole when you're working on yourself. Um, I don't care if a female has masculine energy. I'm a person that does have like very domineering. I'm very like a forceful person, but I have a lot of femininity, so that kind of works in my favor too, because I can get a lot of projects done. I always have a lot of energy for new projects, things like that. Um, Whereas a lot of people who are my age, or who don't carry as much um, masculine energy, they can still have things going on, but they don't have that energy to push it through. So, but in the opposite, it works. In the correct way, it works the same way. When a female can sit in their femininity, it's like the best thing ever. That's why I talk about it quite a bit. Like, I love to sit in that because you can rest. When you're in your natural state, it's in a state of a rest. So now you're in a state of abundance, of pleasure, that you can just, relax and be free. Whereas if I was in a more masculine state, and if you see me in a masculine state, it's usually dealing with, going into arena that is very masculine, and you want people to respect you and not just look at it's saying that it's dying. Please don't down me. But yeah. So and that's the same thing with the man. When a man is very sure, if he's unsure, he's gonna sit back. He's gonna sometimes whimper and cry. So then, when you encourage him, or he's being encouraged himself, and he's working on himself, and he gets that confidence, he's going to be, more protecting. Doesn't mean that he has to be like, very boisterous with it. Some men are, some of them aren't. But you definitely will see them being a protector kind of person. You'll see it come out not only physically but financially, mentally. They're gonna, they're gonna go and protect. That's what they're gonna do. They're gonna, you know, cover and protect. I noticed that, because I have a lot of energy, period. And I used to operate more dominantly. It would be like 52-48%, but 52% more domineering, and that masculine energy. I can get a lot of things done, but I noticed that I had a little bit more masculine female friends than feminine female friends. And I had a good amount, those females like that I did have, that were feminine, you know, not so much of the masculine females, like the ones that look all the way like a boy, but the ones like kind of a little bit tougher than the I won't even say Aaliyah type, because they have to be a little bit stronger than that, but you know how that goes. So which for me at that point, it was a good place, because it got me through a lot of opportunities that I know that if I was in my feminine energy, I probably, in my feminine side, being more feminine, I probably wouldn't get to that. I probably wouldn't, yeah. And I also see that in my workplace. Certain places are like that. Like, I wouldn't get as far if I stayed in that feminine side. Um, but now, a transition has happened, because, I have my own business, things like that, so I can rest. You don't have that stress of being pushed around. You don't have that, so you can rest. And when you're in rest mode, like I said, you're in femininity mode. You can do a little bit more. You can brace yourself. You're in that element. So hold on, you. I know you're ready to poop. Yeah, you can sit in that element, and it feels so good. So I can do, I'm in a relaxed state, but I can do a lot more and do more of the true me. You're in your true state. Um, like I said, I lost all of my masculine female friends, every single one of them. I also lost. Now, people will talk about that like, oh yeah, well, they say that you're gonna lose, people like that. Not always true, but for the most part, yes. Because now they see you as competition. But not only that, would show me even more of the changes of me getting better and to being able to rest, is that a lot of my feminine female parts, who were the super, super girly, when I got and I sat more into my femininity, these people really got competition. They got jealous. They wouldn't invite me to places. Um, they would try. When I first started, they was like, oh, it's good. But then when I started getting better, it was like, oh no, say little harsh little things about how I look. It's just crazy stuff. And you would think, because these are the people who always telling you need to go into your softer side. But then when you show up, Luna, come back here. You're not about to do that. Sit down. But when you show off and you really sit in your femininity, they look at you as a threat now. They look at you as a threat, because they seen you being attractive in the masculine side of yourself. And now they see you being in your softer side, and you even more beautiful in your softer side than you was in the hardcore side. So, one thing I want to say is that be aware of the people who are going to switch up on you when they see you coming up and they see you getting into yourself, getting into the right element and getting into yourself and standing in your truth. Some people will love when they stand in their truth. They want everybody to be around them. They want everybody to be cool, and accept it. And you know what? A lot of people should, because if you know someone is being their true self and they're being happy in one spot, it's only a matter of time that when if you stay around this person or you stay around that energy in a good company, it's going to be good for you. But some people are not like that. Some people see that you are stronger than them. And when I say stronger than them, I'm not saying rah, rah, or, more intellectual. It could be that. It could be that. But when I say stronger, I mean you have a stronger energy field. Your presence is so huge that everyone notices it. Whether you sitting in masculine energy or you sitting in the feminine or you sitting in both, because you can kind of do that. But they're not gonna really take that well. So get ready for that. I wanted to retreat and I wanted to back out, but I was like, you know what? The only person that's hurting is myself. Because you always want to say, well, I don't want to hurt anyone else's feelings. But in reality, if you gotta hide yourself from from the view and the viewpoint of others, all you're doing is hurting yourself, because they already shown how weak-minded and how low they really are. Some people have this perception of you, and sometimes they think that their perception of you is the only perception that is needed, or the only perception is the correct perception. Your perception of me is just, that's what it is. Your perception, your view. There's many views of me, and I'm not in control of how you view me. I'm in control of how I respond to me. And that's what matters. That's the thing that I learned. 3 something in the morning and nobody is out. Usually at least 1 or 2 people are out. But I'm grateful, because I don't like to be around 12,000 people anyway. I don't. So yeah. Homie, we are not going up that hill. It looked like it's starting to get dry. But yeah, that's something that I noticed. Also, now I think that I'm better than, that's another thing. They're going to come out and say, oh, you think you're better? Those masculine friends, they're going to, well, I'm not going to go and lose weight. If somebody likes me, they're going to have to like me for me and blah, blah, this. And it's like, that's kind of crazy. To somebody who really works on themselves and really want to be better for not only someone else, but for themselves. That's crazy, because you always need self-improvement, self-development. You're going to always try to, you're going to always try to look for ways to do better. You're going to look for ways to improve your life. Even if it's something that is a weakness, you're going to try to make an attempt, not only your strengths, your weaknesses, make an attempt to strengthen your strengths and strengthen your weaknesses, that it can be, so that you can become better. Not some of these other people, like a lot of the masculine females. I'm not going to go and, exercise. If they love me, somebody wants to be me, they're going to have to love me for me, blah, blah, blah. Okay, that's your opinion. That's your view. But don't get mad at me when I do. Or, I had some other masculine, because I have different types of masculine friends that are, really physically fit, and they're boyish, but they are, well, sometimes, yeah, I can talk the way that I want to talk, and, no one's going to tell me. It's like, okay, well, I don't think you're going to have a male or any other type of mate anytime soon, because of, how you conduct yourselves. And might I add, when I talk about this, I'm not saying that, oh, these people are horrible people and all this. I'm saying this because this is something that I really lived with. And you don't understand how people, because I was sometimes getting into this mode, how they would act, it would rub off on me. And sometimes how I would act would rub off on them. So you have to be, cautious of that. But when I got more intentional, and I started to make a clear decision that I wanted to work more on my softer side, God really was telling me, like, get back into myself, meaning dress more feminine. Get back into that softer side. Like, this was the year that he was telling me to do that. And I was like, what? But I'm understanding it a little more. I don't fully understand it because I would never fully understand it, but I'm understanding it more. Um, but when this happens, don't be surprised when people drop off on you. Don't be surprised when you start seeing some of those people who were doubting you and thinking, that was another thing, thinking that you're not worth the other people's time because you usually have to sit in the masculinity phase in order to process and get things through. Don't be surprised if they start coming back around and trying to get back in your good graces. Don't get surprised of that when you get better. And I'm not saying take them back, and I'm not saying kick them to the curb either. Let God deal with that and judge that. One of the examples that I noticed, if you guys ever seen Love and Basketball, how oh my goodness, can't even remember her name, but the lady who starred as the super as the basketball star, and then it was dang, can't even remember the guy. And both of them are like really known actors, really known black actors. But anyhow, the guy he played basketball. His dad was a professional basketball player, and this girl loved basketball, but she was so much better than him. Like, she had the more discipline. She was into it. And she really, really loved basketball. He loved it because his dad was in it. He really wanted to be just like his dad. So, yeah, but they get in there and it's like their prom, and all the guys were looking at her. She was looking like a tomboy most of the time, which was me, y'all. Tomboy most of the time, but when prom came, her sister did her hair and made her up and everything else. And she didn't have like a fancy dress on, but it complimented her body because she was physically fit. And she looked very pretty. And to the point where, the guy who was her neighbor, who was his dad was a basketball star. He was the basketball star at the high school, was looking at her, and he was drooling over her, because he never seen her in that softer side. So now he's thinking differently. He's thinking total package kind of thing. So that is the same thing that's going to happen. I had that happen to me in the 5th grade. I know y'all like, what? The 5th grade? Yes, the 5th grade. I remember because even though I was a cheerleader then, I still was very masculine, like masculine. And I wasn't always like that. Like when I lived with my grandparents and other people, I was very much softer and very girly. But when I got to live with my aunt, I know y'all like, dang, she is just telling all the stories, but it goes somewhere. When I lived with my aunt, it was a single family home. She was young, and not only was it me and my 2 cousins, but my other cousins that lived with us. It was a lot of people that she like literally was taking care of, and that was so unhealthy anyway because she was like in her early 20s now that I think about it. And yeah, we were like 9, 10, and yeah. So anyhow, so when she was gone to work, I mean, she used to get sick a lot too because she used to be just working every day or they just party, and she used to be just very sick. One time she got pneumonia or whatever, but so that left us a lot of times to do a lot of things. We knew how to cook, how to clean, stuff like that. So especially me, I would have to like get up because everybody else is still acting like a kid. So I just noticed that. Like, I would get up, wake everybody up, and just get everybody like together. And that left less time for me. I still got to play, I still got to do certain things, but it left me with not a lot of time to do to get into more of the kid stuff and more of the girly stuff. So when I came to school, yeah, I might have some name brand shoes or something like that, but my hair wasn't like how my grandmother had it with all the curls and everything. It's pulled back down to the side. Matter of fact, I had lost a lot of hair too. uh, living with my aunt because she was usually gone. And yeah, so lost a lot of hair. Um, and yeah, so yeah, so I was more of a tomboyish, kind of female. But I remember it was time for the music festival, and I ended up my last 2 years of elementary school because I had to move from my grandmother's to my aunt's, and then from my one aunt to my other aunt who is more feminine. When I moved to with her, and we had the music festival, even though she was still feminine, she was a lot masculine too. She played basketball, kind of like that, but she was very soft. Still to this day. Um, so when I went with her, I remember she was like, "Oh, we need to go and do something to your hair. We have to do something to this and that." And when she, took the time to curl my hair, and she got me this like dress, and most of the people were wearing like fluffy dresses, but I had like an A-line skirt kind of dress. And that's when she started telling me, "Oh, this goes more with your body and this and kind of that." And when that happened, all the boys in my like fourth grade and my fifth grade classes was like, "Dang, Bill, is that you? Like, you could be my girlfriend." Like, and it was just like, to me at that time, I didn't even think about it because there was already sixth graders trying to talk to me. So I didn't, I knew I was good to look at. But when I got into that softer side, like, everybody noticed. When I say everybody noticed, the teachers know, every single person like just stopped. It's like, okay, so kind of made me feel uncomfortable, but that was my experience of learning that power. And if y'all see my hair, I'm telling y'all, I did not moisturize it yet. I didn't done nothing. My eyebrows, once again, I'm still tinting them. So judge me or judge me not, I don't care. Um, but yeah, so that's what I got out of that. And the next day, the kind of pettiness that they would do, which to me, it wouldn't matter to me because I didn't really care too much. And I still, to this day, don't care a lot about having huge parties, even though in my, young adult life, I had friends that did give me big parties. Now I do like to party and like, spend my time with people that I really care about. But just to have a big group, it would not unless it served a purpose like charity function or something like that. But other than that, no. Not that kind of person. But anywho, I noticed that the next day I came to school, it was a whole different ball game. It was a whole different ball of respect. So there is power sitting in that feminine energy, to sit in your femininity. Okay, you were created that way. If you're a female, you have both sides to you, being a human being, but you are designed to sit in that energy, and it's a beautiful thing when it happens. But don't expect by a long shot that everybody's going to be happy for you, because some people know, you might have that, or you might have that spark. You might have, or the anointing that flows through that nobody can deny. And that's one thing that I've always known about myself. It's like God is covering me. Like, when I sit right, God shines. Like, so yeah. And don't be surprised when they, like I said, don't be surprised when they switch up on you. It's not about showing them, because I used to be like, well, let's get even. It's not about showing them that. It's about you being the best you possibly can be, so you can attract and you can be around the people who are designed and going to give you the best. Stop waiting around for those people who, when you are sitting in, opposites, or you're not fully there yet. Don't wait for them, because sometimes you can even get stuck with that because you're feeling bad because these people, "Oh, well, you got to be this, or you're this and you're that." And you know when you sit in who you are, you attract what you're designed to get, what you're supposed to get. So don't knock it. Don't try to, change it to tailor someone else's um, personality, or to conform, or to comfort them. Just stand in your truth, because the right right people will come. The right, you know. Um, yeah, the right people will come, and it's gonna be so much better. Now, not to say that you're not gonna come across people who are gonna get upset because you state what you're stating, because you're gonna get those people. Some people think that, and that's something with them. Some people think that they can't, if they don't have, they can't control you. They're gonna try to discard you. They're gonna try to, do something to make you feel less than. That's on them. That's on you now. That has nothing, and when I say nothing, I mean nothing to do with you. That has nothing to do with you. And when they do that, you know where they stand at. You know you made the right decisions. Don't be surprised when you see this stuff. Don't be surprised if you see people ganging up on you. Don't be surprised. Okay? Do not. And when I say do not, I mean do not. Do not be surprised when you start seeing people who was really close to you and was encouraging you, and once you get to where they was encouraging you at and you want to push further, they think that you're doing too much and they start pushing back on you. Don't be surprised if you start seeing people who, was telling you, oh, I would never do this and I would never do that. They got to love me for who I am. When you start changing, then they see the reaction and the change. They start doing it. And it's not because of you influence them to do it to make them a better person. They only do it because they want to compete against you. Don't be surprised, because they have no life of their own. Don't be surprised. That was one of the things that really hurt me, because I'm like, I thought this person was special and spectacular. They have their own personality. And it was so crazy that this person really didn't have their own personality. They lost themselves. They were just jumping from one personality to the next. They really didn't have girl, what you? They really didn't have a mind of their own. They wanted to do everything you did because they were so obsessed with your life. They were so obsessed with your life and how you lived and the great things that were going on. Not understanding the work that you put in, but just seeing those success points. And now they're mimicking you. They're doing everything like you, putting in the real work. They're doing all the outward appearances of sitting, of sitting in that femininity. So don't be surprised. When I say don't be surprised, don't be surprised. It surprised me when I first, come here. It surprised me when I first went through this, but now it doesn't. Now it doesn't. And you can tell, I know people like, well, some people, you inspire them. You can tell the difference from someone who you inspire versus someone who wants to be just like you, who's lost, they lose everything that they did. They might not like, I got one friend, I'm telling you, their favorite color is one color. My favorite color is fuchsia. And all of a sudden, their favorite color is fuchsia. They want to dress everything like you. Don't be surprised of those instances, because that's gonna happen. That's part of that process. When you're getting better, people will notice it. Don't be surprised if these people start trying to talk you down, or they try to push you over to the side. That's a great confirmation that you are doing just not only fine, not just fine, but you are doing great. Don't knock that down for one freaking second. You know what? I just had to look back into my house, and I'm like, I was like, man, I need to be doing so much better. But you know what? I'm grateful for my house. It's not too shabby, other than me needing to clean up all my products. But, it's not too shabby. But yeah, that femininity, just understand. I think I need to take this. Did it start? No, it didn't get hard yet. Almost. But don't be surprised. Don't be surprised when that happens, okay? Don't be surprised when you lose people. That's okay. God is cleaning up that space so that you can welcome and you can appreciate the right people for the right time and season that you're in. Hopefully, this gives you some clarification. Um, yeah, hopefully this gives you some clarification on what is going on and how things are. Hopefully something I said or done will help you on your journey. Please stay tuned to Journey to Jerusalem. Bye.